Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So about 12 weeks ago, I had my second, well technically my third breast augmentation. And I wanted to wait until this point to give you my real honest thoughts and feelings and just answer all of your questions, because now I'm finally starting to feel like fully healed and settled in. Those first few weeks, they look crazy. And you get home and you're like, what did I do? Was this the right decision? They just look crazy and they have to heal and everything needs to like fall into place. And I'm finally at that point. So I wanted to share like my before and afters and really dig into all of the questions you all have had about breast augmentation, the cost, the pain, recovery, everything, and just share like my full experience, because this is, like I said, my third surgery. I have 2 other videos from this surgery. You can watch my vlog, like the whole experience, and then a Q&A from prior to this one if you want the backstory on why this is my third surgery, because it's kind of crazy. And I know there's a lot of negativity and honestly like fear mongering around implants right now. So I just want to share as much as I can to help bust some myths and give you information that's just backed in science, because there's a lot that's just being fabricated to fit a certain agenda. But if you're looking into getting implants, like you need to know what the science actually says. So I'm going to share some stuff that they don't want you to know. I just want to address the fact that like, I know this is not what my channel is about. Like health and wellness are my focus, but this actually falls into that category. And I feel like it's super important for me to be honest and share my story with you. And this is not promoting getting breast augmentation. This is not promoting any type of surgery. It's just promoting the fact that like you should be able to do something if it makes you feel better. It's not about anyone else or how other people perceive you, but if you feel like it's something that you want to do and that's gonna help you feel better mentally or otherwise, then that should be okay, because it's your choice. And I'm just sharing my story so that hopefully if this is something you're considering for yourself or some other type of surgery, we can have a conversation around it and you can be educated and prepared before going into something and really know what it all entails from start to finish. Just a quick backstory on this surgery. It had been almost 12 years since my first/second breast augmentation, and they recommend getting them redone and replaced every 10 to 15 years. And I went to Dr. Barrett at Barrett Plastic Surgery in Beverly Hills, and he explained it better than I had heard anyone else explain it, because you're like, well, I hear people who've had them for 20 years or 30 years. He said it's basically like your car. Like you can run your car into the ground, but as you keep going over time, there may have complications, there might be problems, or things might just like run down, right? You know? But if you're getting tune-ups and oil changes and taking care of it and maintaining it before any of that happens, you're gonna be in a much better place. So I like to think of it like the car tune-up now. I just feel like that really helped me understand why it's better to do it more frequently. So it had been almost 12 years. I also had just had my son about 6 months prior. I knew it was something I was gonna wanna do in the near future. I actually was about to do it before I had my son, but then I got pregnant. So it was just the right timing for me. But I did decide to do a lift. So there's different types of lifts. For me and all my research, I found like the most minimal scarring for a lift is to do a lollipop lift. So some doctors do an anchor, which as you can imagine looks like an anchor. That's a lot more scarring. My doctor, Dr. Barrett, just does a lollipop. So it's just like one line, like going up one line. But I did the lift because when I had my first surgery after losing 45 pounds, I just put an implant in to basically fill up all of the space that I had lost. I had always had bigger boobs, and then I lost all my weight and I lost all my boobs. But I still had like loose skin and tissue. And then after having a baby, there was more of that. So I wanted kind of like more tight, compact, less like massive boobs, because I feel like they had gotten really big. And the only way to really accomplish that was a lift. My experience was good. The scarring was my biggest fear. Whether you're doing like just an implant, which is just a minimal scar, you can go different areas, or a lift. And because it was a lift, I was like very scared because you have to go around, you know, the whole thing. It's not bad. It's actually healed. I'll show you guys as much as I can of it to kind of show you the healing, but it's healed way better. And even when it was fresher, it didn't scare me like I thought it would. Like I was scared I'd look in the mirror and feel like Frankenstein, and that wasn't the case, because I knew like the rest of the situation was making me feel better, and I really felt like it was the right choice for my body. So I knew I just needed to wait it out, and even though it's not fully healed yet, it's looking so much better. I know I'm getting ahead of myself talking about scars when we haven't even talked about the rest of it, but we're gonna get there. But while we're here, I just feel like it's important to talk about, because that was such a fear of mine. And I think because Dr. Barrett was really good about like helping prepare me for what to do to help like minimize my scarring, that made me feel way more at ease. So we talked about like scar gels. I have a scar gel I put on every single day, twice a day. I had to wait until I think 6 weeks to start doing that. I also use red light therapy. If you watch my videos, I always do red light, but that really can help reduce scarring and like evening out the textures. And then I'm now doing a scar laser treatment just to like, cause I'm like, I don't want any scars. Like I don't want there to be evidence that this happened. So I just am like doing everything to minimize the scarring. But if you're prepared, you know, ahead of time, like there are ways to really minimize it. And they say it takes about a year for them to be like mostly pretty much healed and gone. One of the other things that really surprised me about surgery was how fast it was. Like I just didn't remember it because it was 12 years ago, but it's about an hour. It'll depend on kind of like what you're having done. Obviously, if you're doing just a implant versus a lift or pocket repairs or something like I had, those might take a little longer, but I think mine was about an hour, hour and a half max. And obviously I don't remember it. You're under anesthesia. I just remember going into the room. Everyone was so friendly and nice and we're asking about my baby. And then all of a sudden I was done. So it was really quick. I honestly did not experience much pain at all. So they gave you pain meds, of course, like a prescription, but Dr. Barrett was very adamant about like wanting to avoid taking those unless I needed to. He also gave me CBD, which I just love, like the whole holistic approach. I talked about that in the other video, but for me, finding a doctor that was like focused on my health and general wellness, not just a surgery, was super important. So make sure you do your research. Interview, have consultations with a lot of doctors. Like I've probably in total seen 10 different doctors to do consultations with, but as soon as I saw him, like he just had a fully different approach than anyone else. And he's like crazy highly recommended and has some of the most natural like before and afters. Anyway, so he had CBD. I took the CBD. Honestly, my chest never hurt. Like I never really had pain in my chest. I had pain in my back. So the first 24 hours or 48 hours or something, you have to sleep like basically upright. So I'm like propped up on pillows and my back did not like that. I'm a side sleeper. And then after a couple days, you can like lay flat, but you're still on your back. So I was just really uncomfortable. My muscles were not used to that position. So my back hurt, but my boobs actually never even hurt, which I thought was crazy. The difference is where you get your implants as well will impact it. So part of that backstory I told you about in the other videos you'll learn, I had to have my first surgery redone because I went under the muscle, which is very common, but my muscles would not give. They were like on that implant, like real tight. So the implants never dropped. I felt like they were like in my neck. So we moved him over, which for me I actually liked so much better because I had so much loose skin and I had breast tissue still. So it just kind of filled in and looked more like where my like boob would normally be full. So we did it again over the muscle just because I didn't want to risk it. And I think because there's no muscle involved in having to tear or stretch, it was a lot easier of a recovery. In general though, like I feel like I could have fully gone back to work after the first couple of days. I think they say it's usually like 4 to 7 days, depending on your job, obviously, and like how you're feeling. I felt really good. I had to keep reminding myself that I had just had surgery and that I couldn't just like pick up baby and I couldn't just like go work out because I actually was feeling super normal. And that was, again, shocking because you think like you just had this big surgery, but I felt really good. And I know a lot of that was because of all the work I did for like my nutrition to make sure that I was super healthy going into surgery. I had healthy foods and all my vitamins and supplements and stuff after to really help speed up that recovery and make me feel good post-surgery too. The other thing that was like unexpected, and this is different. So it's kind of weird. I don't know if you've heard of surgical bras. They're basically just this like front closure bra that helps keep things where they need to go. So most doctors use them, but Dr. Barrett typically doesn't use them. So I didn't expect to have one because they like want the blood and circulation to be going there. But I actually left the hospital with one and I had to wear it for 8 weeks. That was the one thing that was hard for me because like mostly just because it didn't fit with a lot of my clothes. Like I had to wear this thing and you could see it. So I had to wear like t-shirts, like full t-shirts. I couldn't wear a tank top. I couldn't go to the beach. It was, summer, whatever. So that was frustrating and hard. But again, I knew that like it was best and he did that just to help with like the implants because I had to do these pocket repairs to make sure everything like settled and healed exactly how it should. And I'm so grateful that I did it and stuck with it every single day, 24 hours a day. It's not uncomfortable. It's actually a very comfortable bra. It was just more like hindering me from just like wearing things I wanted to because now I feel like They look great. They're a lot closer together. They're actually, let's talk size, because I was gonna say they're smaller, but like they are, but they're not. It's weird. My old implant size was a 400cc high profile. And I just always felt like they stuck out and just felt so big. Then when I went to Dr. Barrett, I was telling him how like I wanted to just do, cause he does really natural ones. Like I wanted it to be natural, but for me, bigger boobs is my natural. Before I lost all my weight, like my whole life, I've had bigger boobs. So like I wanted to like not have to get all new bras, not have to get all new clothes. Like I still wanted to fit in my stuff, but I just wanted it to feel like tighter and like more petite, if that makes sense. So we ended up going to 350cc moderate profile. Instead of putting like up or out so much, it's like a little wider and flatter. So you fill up more space. So my cleavage is closer together, which I love for like wearing clothes and stuff, and they don't stick out quite as much. So they feel smaller, and the size is technically smaller, but I still fit perfectly in all my stuff. Here's the thing you need to know about size. Do not let a doctor, if you go in and you say, I want 350ccs or I want 400ccs, and they say, okay, that's not your doctor. No. Find someone who's gonna like look at photos with you, like give them inspo pictures, really explain what you want, and let them decide what fits your body best, and make sure like they're really doing it based on your frame and your body, because the CCs I have on my body would look completely different on someone else. They could look way bigger on someone else, or they could look way smaller. There's some girls I know that have like 200 CCs, and I swear their boobs are bigger than mine. It's crazy. So don't go off of just the CCs. You can have like a general idea maybe, but really just find a doctor who can help like guide you there based on like the outcome you want. Don't worry about the size, like the outcome you want, the look you want. That's the most important thing. But before we talk about costs, I just have to address like one crazy just thing that's out there right now. I just have to. We have to talk about it. Okay, breast implant illness. I know that it's a huge concern for a lot of people right now. There's a lot more conversation around it, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing to have these conversations. The problem is it's not an actual medical diagnosis. Essentially, if you have implants and you go to your doctor and you're going to your doctor and this doctor and that doctor because you have like one of hundreds of different symptoms that could be related to a million different things, and they can't pinpoint what it is. For example, if you're like, wow, I'm really like fatigued every day and I feel like puffy and inflamed, or I have like this rash, and they can't say, oh, it's hypothyroidism or it's this, then if you have implants, they end up saying like, it's probably breast implant illness. And it very may well be. And there's a lot of women, countless women, who have removed their implants and felt amazing and seen those symptoms go away. And it's probably very clearly correlated, but it's less than 1% of people, first of all, that have breast implant illness. So like of all the thousands and thousands, less than 1%, that's a very small percent. But no one should suffer or deal with any pain. And yes, it is a foreign object going in your body, so you never know. I also have implants in my teeth because I didn't have 4 adult teeth that just had gaps there, and I wanted to have teeth. There's no difference. We all treat it like boobs, like that means it's like, well, whatever. To me, there's no difference. If you dye your hair, you wear makeup, you put in contacts that are colored, you wax your eyebrows, you get Botox, you do all these things, you get implants in your teeth that are missing because you want to feel more confident having a full smile. Who cares? It's your choice. You should be able to do that. But all of those things are like, they're not all foreign objects. My teeth are for sure. Your body might respond differently to different things. So it is a possibility, but it's a very, very, very small percentage. I will also tell you, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism at 11 years old. I obviously did not have breast implants then. I was 11 years old. So before you start commenting about it, I have never felt better than I have the last 10 years. I, of course, am not saying that having implants have made me better, but my thyroid levels are level and like even. I'm healthier, I'm thinner, I have less inflammation, I don't have headaches, my hair doesn't fall out. All the symptoms I had of hypothyroidism that were so bad before have gotten better over the last 10 years because my nutrition is better, my health is better, I work out. So the implants have nothing to do with that. I only say that to tell you those symptoms have not gotten worse, and they in fact just haven't even come back like since I've had implants. So I haven't felt any negative effects of it. If I did, of course, I'd consider and look into removal of them. But for me, That was never an issue, and I chose to keep them and keep doing what I'm doing. And I think everyone needs to make that decision for themselves. All right, I feel like we've covered so much, and like there's probably still so many things we could talk about. So if you have questions, like drop in the comments, but I know we got to talk about cost. It is so different depending on what you're doing. If you are just getting an implant, what size implant are you getting? Are you getting a lift? What type of lift are you getting? Are you gonna have to do X, Y, and Z? The cost can vary, but it's typically average between like $13,000 and $25,000. And that is a lot of money. I totally understand. It's a lot of money. And then if you think about having to redo that, right? That is something I didn't really think about when I got my first ones. It's an expensive endeavor to go down. So I know it is not for everyone, like just personal choice. It's not for everyone financially to be able to do that, to be able to maintain that. So it's definitely something that you have to really think about and make that investment in. The cost financially is not the only thing you have to think about. To me, the most important thing before you even go to consults, before you start saving money, before you like think about any of that stuff, is to really think about why you are doing it. Whether it's breast implants, it's a tummy tuck, it's a whatever type of surgery you might be thinking, nose job, anything, right? Why are you doing it? You have to feel very secure in yourself. Can't be like the end all fix, like you think if I do this, then I'll magically be happy again, right? It's a kind of like needs to be like a nice to have. Like I can like accept and be happy in myself, but I think I will feel better and not think about this all the time, not be bothered by this. For me, it was something I was bothered by when I was intimate with my husband. No one else knew anything, no one else whatever, but I personally felt that. He didn't feel that even. There was no conversation or pressure or anything from him. It was something I had to go to him and be like, hey, this is something I'm kind of feeling. What are your thoughts? Go into that conversation. He wasn't mad about it, obviously, but I think that like it's really important that you really do a little digging and make sure that you feel like you're in a good mentally healthy place before you go in it. And then when you have a doctor, make sure that doctor actually checks that too. I had to fill out a whole questionnaire with Dr. Barrett about like my mental health and medical history and everything because they want to make sure you're in a good place before you do something that is literally altering your body. Oh my gosh, before I forget, okay, one more thing. And then if you have other questions, drop them. When can you work out? For me, that was my biggest thing. Like, when can I pick up my baby? What are the scars gonna be like? And when can I work out? So after about a week, I got into like just walking, just very mild, not getting my heart rate up too much because you want to like just like keep it nice and low and steady. At 2 to 3 weeks, you can get into more like basic lower body workouts. So I started doing like my booty work, not picking up weights or anything, but just doing like lunges and squats and bridges, like just keeping that lower body going, which is great because it's your biggest muscle groups and you're gonna burn the more calories and help maintain muscle that way, plus increasing my protein a ton. And then at about 6 weeks is when you can start like getting back into your normal workouts. Again, that's like on average, that's the typical, unless there's complications or something, that's what you can expect. So it is a little bit of a long road. It's hard for me. I just like wanted to get back after it so bad. But after having a baby this year too, I learned a lot of patience. So this first time in like a decade, I took off, what is that, total of like 12 weeks throughout the year, like 4 months. That was crazy. But here we are going into a new year. I'm feeling healthy and strong and so good. And again, just know this is your choice, whatever you're doing. I'm here to support you. If I can answer any questions for you guys, happy to. Definitely check out Dr. Barrett. I'll link down below. And I just say this because he genuinely is the best doctor I've found. And I've done a ton of research over the years. He just has a really holistic approach that I appreciate as someone in the health and fitness space. Like, he's amazing. He cares about his patients. He's great. So I'll put a link to him too if you guys want to check in with him and kind of like find out anything about surgery. But I love you. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll be in the comments answering any other questions you guys still have. Don't forget, good things come to those who sweat. So I'll see you next week. Bye.